You're on.
Meeting will come to order, please. Notice requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act for this meeting have been satisfied. A copy of the annual meeting notice was sent to the press, the Down Beach Current, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, on the municipal website, filed in the office of the municipal clerk. Would you please take a second, turn off electronic equipment as we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, please, Johanna.
Mayor Becker.
Here.
Commissioner Amadeo.
Here.
Commissioner Blumberg.
I am here.
First item for discussion is we are here today, a very special thing to do. We are here to honor the school system, specifically the Thai school. And you don't know, you'll never know how proud that makes me, obviously, because I've always had a love for the school system here, and I have a personal interest in this. And to be one of 320 schools in the country, one of 9 in the state of New Jersey to be recognized. And if you go back in history, we are the only middle school in Atlanta County to ever been recognized. I think that's a great thing. And if all you people, come on up here, Audrey, John, I want everybody up here, we're gonna give you a little proclamation. Come on, guys, let's stand with us. For those of you who don't know why I have a personal interest, this is my daughter-in-law, who we all love very much. Everybody up here? Come on out there.
Let's even it out.
Okay. Whereas U.S. Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos on November 7th, 2017 recognized Eugene A. Thai School as a National Blue Ribbon School for 2017. This recognition is based on the school's overall academic performance. And whereas the National Blue Ribbon Schools program honors public and private elementary, middle and high schools where students achieve very high learning standards or are making notable improvements. And whereas the Eugene E. Thai School is being honored thanks to the dedication of its principal, Audrey Becker, the teachers, the administrators, students, and school community working together to achieve educational excellence. And whereas the Eugene Thai School is the only middle school from Atlanta County in the 35-year history of the award to receive this recognition, and whereas the city of Margate is proud to congratulate Margate's Eugene Thai School for being selected as the National Blue Ribbon School in its 35th year, the highest recognition bestowed by the United States Department of Education. And now therefore, I, Michael Becker, and the governing body of the city of Margate City, Atlantic County, New Jersey, are proud to honor Eugene A. Thai School for this incredible recognition. Now with a hand for this. Obviously.
Thank you.
I told Audrey she had to do a 20-minute speech. She told me she wouldn't show up. But once again, on behalf of all the citizens of Margate, on behalf of the Commissioners Amadeo, Commissioner Blumberg, and all of us that work for the city, I can't express enough how honored we are to have you guys all here with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
your first day on the job? One more thing, you are all invited to stay for our meetings if you care to, but you don't.
Congratulations, everyone. Good job. Great team effort.
Boy, I never saw anybody. Now they know how the kids feel when the bell rings. Our reputation precedes us.
Tracy's walking this or all walking out? We will now, Jenny, are you ready? Jenny, are you ready? Mrs. Gormley is here to give us an update on current projects of sustainable Margate.
Sure am.
Hi.
Here, there, there.
Right to the
Hold the mic
microphone.
in front of you.
Okay, I'm a member of the Margate Green Team, which I love. And there's a couple other members here. I'd like to introduce Deborah Barnett, Emily Aiken. Oh, and we've got Charles here too. That's great. So you're giving awards. We're giving an award to you because at the League of Municipalities, Tuesday, Ventnor, Margate, Longport, Down Beach Green Team won #1 in the state of New Jersey for sustainability, the Collaboration Award. Last year it went to Maplewood and South Orange and somewhere else. Year before, Hightstown, West Windsor. This year, #1, Down Beach Green Team. So this is to hang somewhere.
Congratulations for the work you did.
It's always nice to be #1.
So at our last meeting, we realized that maybe the city commissioners and department heads and some of the citizens didn't know all that we were doing, because we're doing a lot. So I just did more or less some bullet points of some things that we've done. Be quick, I'm quick. So we won the Collaboration Award this year. We also received the Bronze Award again, a couple years in a row. You need 150 points to do that out of this Sustainable Jersey chart, and we won 170 points, so we're happy about that. We have been involved with the city's master plan update, which is going to include a building and sustainability element. We've worked with Thai School. We're happy about that. We want to work even more with Thai Middle School in conjunction with surf riders to establish an ecology club. So they have that over there. And we really want to work more with the kids because that's the route to the parents, right? We've done the Absecon Island Back Bay cleanup. That's a collaborative thing. 2 years in a row, we partnered with surf riders. And this year, the Atlantic City Fire Department was great. Nearly 80 volunteers cleaned up on land and water. They hauled in 14,000 pounds of debris. We've been working on the safe routes to school. Margate continues with their Walking Wednesdays. And I think kids have gotten so into it. From what I understand, more and more kids just voluntarily ride bikes and walk than they ever did. So that's terrific. The school district also has received silver and gold recognition from the Safe Routes to School organization for that effort. We're working on the community forestry management plan. We have an intern from Stockton who's conducting a tree survey. Bless their heart, poor person. Mostly public land, obviously, that's all we can do is public land. Think Haddonfield, think Ridgewood, think places with tree canopies, any more we can get. And we can also work with the governor's strip. But this poor Stockton intern is busy counting trees and doing an inventory of the trees as a first step. The Native Garden, we received a $2,000 grant for the municipal building to have a native garden. Bob Blumberg has agreed to do some pruning, because we've had some complaints, it's looking shabby. But some of the plant material, we've been advised, should be left over the winter for foraging, shelter for wildlife, and so forth. But it will be cleaned up, and we're happy to have that. Reusable bag education. This is the one closest to my heart, the whole plastic bag thing. Surfrider and Sustainable Down Beach sponsored a screening of the film A Plastic Ocean. We had 55 people who attended. Another screening is scheduled for November 28th. We're continuing to educate whomever we can about the dangers of plastic bags and plastic straws. Now, I had heard that Wawa, for instance, and now I've experienced it, the management has told people to ask, do you need a bag? Which I think is terrific. I've got my husband now at CVS. If you just need one thing, just take one thing. Just take the cough drops. I don't need a bag. What do you need a bag for one thing for, right? So we're just trying to keep awareness going, keep the momentum going. The balloon ordinance, which is another collaborative effort, about 15 communities have followed Margate's lead and adopted balloon ordinances. We continue to educate towns on this issue with the goal of a statewide ban. And believe me, the strings are every bit as dangerous as the balloons themselves, in terms of choking sea life and so forth. We have a new intern. Her name is Chelsea Ericetti. She's working on her master's at Penn in environmental policy, and she's going to be assisting with community outreach on businesses using more sustainable products, the business community. So that's the formal thing. Just a couple little add-ons. I forgot to mention the beach cleanups, which we've done 2 or 3 or 4 times in the last year with Clean Ocean Action and with other groups whenever we get the chance. I want to thank Public Works. They are very attentive. I'm a beach walker, especially with the dog in the wintertime, and I find these big things that I can't pick up. Come back home, call Public Works, it's gone, 2 hours. They're terrific, they're very attentive to that. On that note, a little plea for a little more of those beat up blue plastic trash cans, whoever's Public Works. That's the street ends. So when people come off the beach, they have somewhere to put their stuff. That's more incentive to pick it up, which is great. We welcome new members. Anybody who's interested, just give me your name and number and this and that. And one other thing I can't resist, I just have to say this, because we heard today that Long Beach Township, after Longport, the whole Long Beach Island? Long Beach Township adopted a plastic bag ordinance for all their businesses. It goes into effect in 6 months, so that's cool. And there's another town, Long Beach Island, that's seriously considering it. The only big store they have there is Acme. And Acme said, if that's a local ordinance, we comply with local ordinances. So that's just a FYI. And that's what the Green Team's doing. We're happy to be doing all this, and just thought you needed to be updated. Questions? There's a couple of us here.
Thank you, Judy. There you go.
That's right.
I don't think Frank can get you those blue things tonight, but
No,
I'll bet they'll be
at
there
some point, a few
tomorrow.
more street end ones.
Ginny, thank you and your whole team.
A picture with the plaque.
Ginny, thank you and your whole
Absolutely, we'll
team,
get that.
and Monica for all the work you do. I know you guys meet continuously at City Hall. And the only one thing I want to mention, and I wish Ed was here, the Safe Routes to School, we've applied for grants for upgrades on our streets, especially the streets going towards Thai School and Ross School. And we're going to go under a pretty significant undertaking. I wonder if Ed should have the information from the Green Team for what they've done towards that, which can help us with that grant. It's close to a $500,000 grant.
Wow.
We think that was included, but.
Was?
It was.
Because that was a question I had.
It was.
Okay, great.
All right, so
Thank
take
you.
a photo then, if you'd like.
Maybe you can go around.
Go around.
Where's the plaque? Okay.
I think we only get to keep it for a year. That's true.
Oh, you gotta
Because
pass
last
it
year
on
it
to
was
the next
hanging
town.
in Maplewood, Milburn, and stuff.
What's the chances of us becoming a Tree City, USA?
Oh, that'd be good. That's where we have the intern. Counting trees all over Margate.
Stand right, stand.
Yeah.
The rest of your team?
Front page now.
I will put that
Who's ever the hanger?
It'll be
Put that in
in City
our-
Hall in our trophy case.
The trophy.
Before we move on to department head reports, since we're talking about what we're talking about, this morning at the League of Municipalities, our Public Works Director, Frank Brichetti, was honored with an award from the American Public Works Association. And this is the second year in a row that he's got an award, and I have the honor to work with Frank, and it's well-deserved. And Frank, thank you for all you do for the city. Now we'll start with department head reports. Rich, why don't we start with you today?
I know I've indicated at least once publicly in the last several weeks that we're actively in labor negotiations with our fire department, our police department, and the City Employee Association, which is largely Public Works and our office staff, the non-managerial office staff. When we complete those, and we expect to be able to complete at least one of them in the next 2 weeks, and probably two of them in the next 3 or 4 weeks, we'll be bringing those contracts to the commission. If the commission members individually would like to speak to me and get an individual update, although most of you do anyhow, feel free to do that. On the agenda tonight, there's a salary ordinance. We're required annually to actually have an ordinance in print, even though we have contracts. And as you recall, we went through a process this summer with managerial employees, and we had a salary ordinance for the managerial employees. Those managerial employees have been included in this overall salary ordinance so that there's one ordinance. So what you see for the managerial employees is exactly the same as what was already passed earlier this summer. It just reflects in one ordinance the decisions that have already been made. Likewise, the ordinance as it pertains to the non-managerial people, they're all under contract, either through police, fire, or the association. So this ordinance is a reflection of what those contracts already reflect for the existing year, 2017. So the ordinances to be introduced tonight and to be passed at the next meeting is for 2017 only. There's nothing on there that hasn't already been brought before you. This is a single consolidation salary ordinance to be able to be presented to the auditor that verifies the amounts of payroll that have been paid this year are consistent with the ordinance that you have. We'll do another one in 2018, but we'll wait till later in the year until after all the contracts are completed. So if there's any questions on that, feel free. You may get some after their community may have some questions of you after it's publicized. But there will be a public hearing and second reading at the next meeting. That's all I have.
Thank you, Rich. Chief?
I have nothing to report today.
Chief?
All is well in the fire department also. Nothing else to report.
Thank you. Johanna?
I want to report that the election went well. For Margate, we had a relatively high turnout, and other than that, all is well in the clerk's office.
Mr. Abbott? Mr. Abbott returned from Florida last night so he could attend this meeting. He's going back tomorrow morning. Now, that's a devoted public
Spirit,
servant.
thank you, Spirit. But, yes, Mayor, thank you. Just that we had our dredge meeting today, and we're still moving forward. It's a very, very complicated process. We're gonna be meeting with the DEP and the Army Corps December 13th in Trenton. And so we are actually moving forward with a dredging project for the Back Bay areas of Margate. That's all I have.
Frank?
We completed the fire hydrant flushing. We didn't have any complaints really. We had one phone call about discolored water. We were in the process of winterizing all our sprinkler systems and outdoor stuff. We completed that this week. We also got all our trucks ready with their salt spreaders, ready for the winter months for the bad weather. And we're still cleaning up city properties. Right now, we're back out at the ball field again. And there's a lot of work to be done out there. We'll be going into Marvin Gardens probably next week. We still have a lot of things to clean up. We're already hanging up our holiday lighting, and we're moving right along. We're quite busy for this time of year. That's all I have.
Thank you, Frank. Jim?
Good evening. Still a lot of houses coming in. In fact, I just did 3 footing inspections today, which means there's going to be 3 brand-new houses coming in Margate. So get ready. On Monday, I had a court case with the White Tyvek house. It's at Mansfield and Atlantic. I don't want to name the name, but she was found guilty for failing to maintain her house, which means having a surface covering on the Tyvek for the last 2 years. The judge found her guilty, fined her maximum amount of $1,000, but she's fighting it. She doesn't want to put anything on her, so we're just going to continue to issue summonses against her. Unbelievable. That's all I have.
Thank you, Jim. We go back to Lisa.
I have nothing to report.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Mark? Yeah.
No, but I didn't know that,
He said.
I didn't know that Jim was going to court. And so I might suggest that maybe we contact Lowe's and suggest to them that this isn't the greatest advertising for their product. I know you call it Tyvek. I call it the Lowe's house. So maybe we can go to Lowe's and see if they might want to get involved. Anyway, that's all I have.
John?
Mayor, no comment other than the fact that it was great to see the whole staff of Thai School here earlier to be recognized for their great achievement of becoming a blue ribbon school. And as we progress, we've seen, recently the park scores. Margate still is at the top. No one comes close to them. So it's really a great achievement, and it shows you the hard work of the staff, and we really appreciate it as a city that we have a product like we do with our school system. So that's the only comment I have, Mayor.
Right. Well said, John. I have nothing today. At this point, we'll open for public comment. 3 minutes for anything that was discussed here today.
Could I make one comment?
One timeout, guys. Certainly, Rich.
Thank you. At the next meeting, we're likely to bring a resolution in front of you that I want to just explain briefly. It's quite simply something we've been working with Ventnor on for the last several months. And of course, Roger McLaurin is an engineer for us and the engineer for Ventnor. But we've been discussing with Ventnor a long time about, and they have gone out to seek proposals for engineering services so that there would be a group of engineers that would be pre-qualified so that when individual projects come up during the year, that we would ask for proposals from one or all of that group of people. And we're not bound by it, but it's a chance to get more competitive prices for engineering services within the bounds of proposals that have already been submitted with prices and hourly rates for various kinds of services. So all we would be asking the commissioners to do would be to recognize this group of engineers, to include in that group, Remington Vernick is included in that group, and they've been aware of this from the beginning. But it means that we would be, at your discretion, for particular projects, we would seek proposals from one or more of these engineers for particular projects. And the one area that we've discussed with Remington and Vernick and we feel strongly about is that for inspection services, for certain kinds of inspections, there's a more competitive environment than we've been experiencing in the last couple of years. That is not to say that on every project that we would use other people for inspectors or other engineers. But unfortunately, some of the big, it's like any other organization. When we get a big organization, the advantages are you have skills of a whole variety of skills and very particular types of skills that a small organization wouldn't have. But then there are others that just specialize in particular things, like inspections. And you'll have an opportunity next year to consider particular projects with these particular engineers, all of which would have to come back before you. So the whole idea of bringing a resolution to you is to disclose this publicly and be on the public record that these are proposals from engineers, and they would be the same ones, presumably, if you adopted, that Ventnor is adopting in this joint process. So we'll have a list for you of those engineers, and you can discuss it and consider it for the next meeting. If you have questions in between, you can speak to me or Commissioner Amadeo, who's been working with us on this.
Very well said.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. We're now open for public comment.
Sewell 22 West Drive, following up on the words of our esteemed solicitor, in his complex dredge project, I think there are still two very important issues to address in that complexity. One is funding. What type of state and or federal funding has been sought? And number two, the redundancy of this project in the event that the Great Egg Harbor Inlet silts up, and further, during a storm surge, that silted material fills back in the dredged operation and makes it a totally worthless project. Have these issues been discussed in their complexity?
I think they have, yes, may I answer that, Mayor?
You may.
Yeah, we have a committee of engineers and, what's that? Oh, I'm sorry.
Red button.
Yeah, we have a committee, and we have Stu Farrell helping us out. We have several engineers on it, actually 3 engineers on it. And yeah, we are very much looking at it. We also have Jim Rizzella, who's a professional grant writer, looking for all kinds of funding. A big part of our work to date has been funded by a state grant. So all of your points are certainly being considered.
Including the master jetty?
Well, I don't think we have any jurisdiction over the master jetty, although,
We're not talking about dredging the ocean.
no, not the ocean, not the inlet.
Yes, but it's pointless to dredge the back bays if you can't have egress through the Great Egg Harbor Inlet. Isn't that true, Solicitor?
You should have faith in our Army Corps. You really should.
If you go on that basis, look at the billion-dollar boondoggle in the Everglades. Look at the enormous snafu of the Mississippi River.
I will do that tomorrow.
You'll see what a tremendous snafu the Everglades have been over the past 40, 50 years.
I know what you speak of.
Billions of dollars to undo their expert, project.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Is there a motion to close public comment?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Plummer?
Yes,
Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I'll make that
moved.
motion. Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Plummer?
Yes.
We will take a 5-minute recess and we will reconvene. I can't go home. There's something, I can't go home tonight.
Yeah, you can get your name right now, I see.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see, now I see. So this,
Oh, this is the one we're at. Okay, John.
pull them out.
This stays.
How am I gonna?
So now, we don't have any more grants.
Are there still?
Have a
And I was looking at that the other day, we gotta get out here. Just even if they're conditions.
I'm gonna stay away till night.
Yeah, I just wanted to know on this place.
Oh, yeah, it is. Pretty-
All good. Runs marina too. So he said they're okay. Water comes up the top, so it's white and great.
We're doing a 5-minute recess.
Chief, I need that chair back here for her.
He said, but he said, look, nobody.
Yeah, it's true.
If you'll do that, I'll stop.
Yeah.
At least we're trying.
I put him in.
Made out of,
John, does he realize what
petrified.
I did get